I'm hearing that you help them to remember. There's aspects about their true nature that they had lost. They had forgotten about it because of their environment, because of the people around them, and because of the ways, just the ways of the people. Excuse me. And they had forgotten about the purity within them. They forgot about it. But you help them to remember. Good day, good evening, good afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. Welcome to Milk Honey Rose. I am Mystic Alchemy. Thank you for being here. And so, yeah, this person forgot about who they are, and you help them to remember. Just, it feels like it was through conversation. You were just talking about. I feel like it was just a flowy conversation, and you just spoke about something that opened their eyes and helped them to recognize that their ways weren't their own. Because it's easy for someone to be in a certain environment and continue to see something and be like hypnotized into believing that they are one way because they keep on seeing images of other people that look like them, right? Doing a certain thing, and it's making them believe that that is them, and it hits the subconscious mind. It becomes a belief, and then they get stuck in this way of being that is really not their own. It has been imposed on them. And the weight of the environment and lack of resources and opportunity begins to almost like solidify a lie and make it seem as though it's true. And then they align, they align with what they see and what they keep hearing and what they keep seeing and what they keep hearing. And it happens over and over again and over, right? So this person was stuck in that cycle, stuck in it. Okay, it's a karmic cycle. However, this one was, I'm hearing it was manufactured. Yeah, it was manufactured over and over again, seeing the same thing. And after speaking to you, it was a reminder that that's not really you. You just were moving that way because that's all you were seeing from younger years to adulthood. It got a little confusing. And then a person just looking for an outlet at a certain point. It's like, I just need an outlet because this is not easy. It's challenging. And the outlet just happens to be, it just so happens to be a place like a club because it's fun. It kind of takes you away from the idea of reality or the, the truth of reality. The struggles that take place within reality, right? And it's like in a place of illusion that makes you think that it's actually you're having a great time, but instead of living life, you're actually celebrating death and not even noticing. Okay, so this is what this person was in, and they were like living in a fast lane. Everything was fast, so they could have even began to become promiscuous just outside. Many bodies have been laid down. Okay, many bodies is what I'm picking up on. Not for everybody, but for this particular body, that's what I'm feeling for this message. However, it's something about when they spoke to you, they realized that they were actually tired of that cycle that they've been stuck in. They just didn't realize that they were stuck in a cycle. They have been so in tune with that way of life that they actually thought it was good. They thought they were having a great time. And they could just like the fact of, or the environment of being around a lot of people and whatnot. They weren't taking into account that they were using that environment as a coping mechanism for pain that has been hidden and buried deep inside of their subconscious mind because they're afraid to look at it. However, in that space, you showed them that that is where they find love. Right? That's what I'm picking up on. They find love in their shadow. It just so happens that you notice like how it's the shadow or the darkness is always looked at as like scary and stay away from that, and you're gonna get spooked. It's even in like movies it's 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 never it's never expressed as don't be afraid of it. Like walk into it. Like understand it. It's never expressed in that way, right? So that's also a subconscious inaccuracy, I want to call it. Because if you keep hearing that, then it's kind of like you don't even realize it, and that's in your mind, and then you start to feel like a little like that until you realize that that's not right to feel that way, because once you're able to analyze your own shadow, your own darkness, things that you try not to look at because it might hurt, it might feel uncomfortable, it's a lot of truth in there that you have to evaluate and acknowledge and make sense of. However, once you do that and you're not afraid to do it, you become so much lighter. Your energy becomes lighter. You begin to live at that point. You begin to actually live, because it's like the beginning stages of life are so challenging that it could feel like you're close to an end all the time. But then that end never becomes, you never become in the new beginning. You never get to the new beginning. If you keep on thinking in that mindset of, oh, let me just put a Band-Aid over an open wound. Right? Because that's what happens when you have true issues that you need to look at, and yet you don't look at them. However, being in a space such as like a club has loud music, a lot of people, a lot to look at, and it's a distraction. And also, the other distraction is the external substances that are used to numb reality. Okay, numb issues that are causing the pain that one wants to rid of themselves. They want to rid from themselves, right? And this is the cycle that they were in. They just kept doing that, but then after the hangover is over, the problem is still there. Okay, and that's why like the substance is so dangerous, because it could lead people into that, like you want a quick fix, but it's not, it doesn't get to the root of the problem. It just keeps you feeling like everything's okay for a short temporary time, but it's not going to solve the problem. And then the person keeps on doing it over and over again to try to get some relief. That's why it's the worst when individuals do things as such as, drinking and toting and all that when they're sad, because it could bring them way down and make them way worse than they were in the beginning, even without the substance, right? Okay, this is where this person was, and they didn't really realize it. They just felt like it was normal. It just felt regular. And once you highlighted this to them and you helped them to see like the truth, it's like a weight was lifted up off of them, and they were able to see the truth for what it was. And they realized that they've been living life in a den of demons, because if there's one person that feels this way, because I could see that they were just trying to have an outlet for all of the stress and pain and trauma that they've gone through. It's a feel-good moment that's only temporary. It's fleeting, so it's not something that's permanent. There's many others in that same location with that same energy, and then forget about it when they start connecting. These types of people start connecting and laying down. They just swapping demons. Okay, so it's like they didn't even look at it like that. They didn't look at it like that, and they was wondering why they kept feeling more sad, and then try to cover it up with jokes and a smile, or just being trying to overcompensate for the pain by being like boastful, and maybe even like, what is the word I'm looking for? To gloat, like overly gloat and use things to heal the pain. That's another thing that this person could have started to do. Use like materialistic things to heal the true pain inside. That's another putting a Band-Aid over an open wound situation an open wound situation, in which then, open wound without being clean and stitched up is going to become infected. So they were walking around with so much pain inside. They were like busting out the seams with it. And with all of these demons that they were interacting with, it's like they were adding on to their own demons that they had to fight. Now that they're recognizing that and they see that through communicating with you, you help them to remember who they truly are and what they're really about, because they're not the life that has been manufactured for them. They are totally different. So now I'm hearing that they could read their blood. That's deep. They could read their blood now. Now that they know, because it starts with understanding and the knowledge. That's why they say knowledge is power, because it is. It breaks you free from concepts that are not even yours. They don't belong to you in your bloodline. So it's like, what am I doing? They were looking at like, what have I been doing? So with that deep conversation, it was very healthy, very healing to the soul and to the bloodline. And so now it's like breaking them free from the invisible chains that were on the subconscious mind is what you did for them. And not only it wasn't a one-way situation. I feel like the both of you learned from each other, but it was just such a beautiful experience between the two of you. And this is what we do for each other as humans on earth. We do this. Like, when you're a healthy person and you're open to speak to people and just through conversing with people, this is the type of stuff that happens. And I don't feel like it's like really talked about like that in such a way. But this is what we do. Like, we can be each other's assistants. We could be each other's eye openers. Like, think about how many times you've spoken to someone in your life and they said something to you and it completely changed your thinking about a certain something that was bothering you. Just by talking to that one person, you can honestly say that they changed your life from their way of thinking and from what they learned. And they saved you a lot of time just off the strength of sharing with you in a 5, 10, maybe 20-minute talk what they've learned. And now you're brand new in a certain sense, because you were able to add to what you already know, because you trust in what they shared with you, because it resonated with you. And you'll know when something resonates because you're going to feel it. And you're going to say, yeah, that's right. You're going to know it's right. Now, you can't do that with everything everybody tell you, because some people don't be right and some people have hidden agendas going on. And that's a whole nother message, because you must like be able to discern when something's right for you and when something is not. Okay, but for this particular person, what you said was the right stuff. Okay, you gave them the right thing at the right time, and you really helped them to unravel what had a piece of them locked away. So now they're in a state to where you've guided them back to the purity of themselves to go explore it. Now they can explore who they truly are and live a life of wholeness for the rest of their life. Okay, so that is it for this message. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you feel my vibe, especially if this message does resonate with you. If you would like to book a healthy conversation, you can by visiting www.milkhoneyRose.org. Also, if you would like to join the membership just to support me here on YouTube, I'd greatly appreciate your joining. And yes, I appreciate all of those who do join in advance. I appreciate you, and thank you. I'll see you in the next message.